Good evening. The the scene is, well, of course, set in the busy city of New Sarum. Tonight, this night finds Stefan sitting on a familiar rooftop, one that he once met Thomas on for some business. Now, what, a month past or less. He's going over things. Not doing too badly, you know. Of course, the ups and downs are always there. They never really go away. Like everything else, all of the all the downs are always there. Everything that could possibly be backlash against his positive modes, his good endeavors, always there. Just like the people that he goes over in his mind that he dealt with last month. Sophia, the hesitation, the way she almost suspects him of something. Lacey. All he meant to do was help her. All he meant to do was tell her something that he felt she needed to hear. Something very important, not something hollow and meaningless. No, at this moment in Stefan's mind, he even begins to doubt if Axel really trusts him. He wonders who really trusts him, if anyone. As he sits on that lonely rooftop, it's been sitting here for about 20 minutes. It stopped raining about 15 minutes ago. He spent some time huddled just inside the top floor, trying to dry off a little bit. Mentally pats himself on the back, exercising his newfound ability to blend in with shadows, to move while doing so, to cause people to subconsciously avert their gazes, to just pass like a wind, blend in with the surroundings. Shadow. But there is no smiling, not tonight. Not with such grim thoughts in his head. Such he mutters to himself a bit. No. No. I could see Lacey. Not trusting me. But Sophia and Axel even suspecting that I could be up to something. No. It cannot be. Certainly not Thormaxu. There's got to be some trust there. There's got to be some trust somewhere. See, as just kind of sits and thinks. It's been a couple nights. It's been a few nights since he's really gone out hunting. It's been a little bit longer since he's stalked human prey. He's gotten so used to the taste of animals on the city streets. It doesn't quite revolt him as it once did. But no. And tonight, he can't help but think how good it would feel to not just feed a little bit, to keep himself level, to keep himself healthy, but to feel emotion, to feel sadness in someone, to feel the ebb of depression in someone's blood. He's felt it before. He knows it's possible. Yes. To prey on that emotion that somebody else is feeling, to try to feed himself a little bit, try to sate his craving, feelings, maybe something happy. I don't know. He doesn't, I don't know. He knows what he's going for. He knows what he's looking for. Not total depression. He's been there before. A little bit of downtroddeness. The feeling of being stepped on a little bit. And slight moroseness. That little glimmer of light, a little glimmer of happiness in the back of someone's mind. Just kind of hides or is tucked away, waiting to come out at any moment. Yes. Then he goes back to the last time he met Sophia. How he didn't mean to set her off. He didn't mean to make her paranoid. He just wanted to share something that he found beautiful with somebody that he trusts. And then got another thought. He gets up. He's not in a down mood right now. He can't afford to be like this. Not in this area. Not in this steaming shithole that he's walking through. And even for it being a steaming shithole, as everyone else would call it, he can still look in the projects and he can still see something beautiful. You know, truly, the thing that keeps Stefan going tonight is the ability to envision something better than what you see. As he starts heading down the fire escape stairs, leaving his perch atop this building, this beautiful view over the projects. You can definitely see why Tomas would like coming up here. The view from this building is definitely incredible. One of the taller buildings. a few minutes, he's just about to the bottom of the fire escape, just about, or no, just about halfway down the fire escape. He continues. Not too much longer from that, he gets down to the fire escape. Or he gets down the fire escape to the ground. And he, as he starts walking, he carefully watches his footsteps. He carefully gauges the sound that he makes, watches what he steps on, and he begins to slide against the wall as if he were a part of the wall. Not blending into the shadows, no, not just blending in, no. But blending in with the surroundings, with what's at his back or what's at his side. He envisions himself as he, out of the corner of his eye, he catches this dingy red brick building. The dirty concrete at his feet. And he just kind of takes a moment, stopping his footsteps. And just kind of envisioning himself, just kind of imagining that he is almost becoming one with it, blending in, as dirty and filthy and marred as it is, to blend in with it, to become it, to become a fly on the wall, something that nobody will pay attention to as he makes his way through the projects to a little bit more busy area. And that I will make. Holy hell. Yeah. He's a shadow. He without even another, just as he's about ready to stop and just kind of think a little bit, he takes a very slight breath in, not making a sound, but literally taking a breath in. And as soon as he exhales his unnecessary breath, he's one with the background. He literally blends in, keeping to the shadows at all times. But he can feel himself melding with the surroundings as he passes the walls. He's not just seeing the walls, he's seeing a little bit of himself pass in it, almost as though it's a reflection, even though it's a non-reflective surface. And he begins to think to himself, do I really want to feed here? He walks for a good 20-30 minutes. As he moves along, he begins to see people, passes them without even a second glance. Nobody knows he's there. A few people scurry off as though they heard or saw something that scared them, but Stefan just continues. But before he can get too deeply into a populated area, he kind of turns about a little bit, begins to head into Little Italy. He knows he's heading in the direction where his apartment is, but just past on the other side of Little Italy or Chinatown, right above that familiar diner. It's safe home. The longing for a drink. He doesn't just want to taste it. He wants to feel it again. Maybe that will help. He doesn't want to become addicted. He just wants to taste it. He wants to feel it. Slight sadness with a glimmer of light behind it. Yes. A little glimmer of happiness being covered up by the sadness. That's what he wants. That's the feeling he's going after. Maybe something will help him get over his feeling of not knowing who trusts him, not knowing who he should be dealing with or talking to. He, after some time, leaves the projects and starts approaching, and enters Little Italy, the north part of it. Yeah, this will do. And he begins to kind of peruse some of the bars. It's about 10:30 perhaps. Maybe he'll see somebody walking about, whether coming or going from place to place. And he begins to kind of keep his eyes out, keep his ears peeled, sticking to the shadows, blending in with the surroundings. After a little bit, just barely entered Little Italy. There's nobody around that he can see. Not a single person. Which is disappointing. He's really hoping that, this would be a good place. But he continues nonetheless. He's not going to give up his search. It's a little bit too persistent for that. Begins to kind of walk through what he knows or what he's heard is a busier area. And begins to kind of peruse. Around this area, there are definitely more clubs, a few bars here and there, late night restaurants. And he continues his search to see if he can find somebody who can provide him with not only sustenance, but an emotional experience, something that will help him to know that other people are feeling as he does. Something about that comforts him. He's not alone. As he passes a few bars in this area, he keeps he looks around again, hoping to find somebody who fits his description. Maybe a woman in her mid-30s. Vulnerable time. And that's pretty promising, but and on this second little go around, the second look along the streets, he does spot what appears to be a woman about her mid-30s, 35, 38 perhaps. sitting at a bus stop, sobbing, but not full out crying. Apparently, somebody she knows has done something to her. As he just kind of walks up behind her, being even more quiet, or being even more subtle than he's been along this whole walk. This walk this walk in the shadows, this walk of obfuscation, this walk of being unseen, this invisible walk he's been on. He just kind of stands there looking at her, taking in what she's saying, feeling, trying to feel what she's feeling. Stefan begins to feel drawn to this. He can kind of see a light at the end of this emotional tunnel as she kind of half sobbing, half chuckling, or partial laughter about something good. Promotion at work, but everything else is falling apart around her, apparently. This pleases him. He draws a little bit closer, very, very subtle, looks around. See, to make sure that nobody else is around, nobody else is watching this. And he's very pleased that he spotted a good mark. Nobody is going to see. The buses won't be here for another 30 minutes. Yes. He gets in closer to him, carefully coming around the bus stop. Without sitting, just kind of waiting until she brings her head up, just kind of sits back. Perhaps even moving her, or keeping her head to the side a little bit, moving her head to the side, exposing her neck a little bit. That's the perfect opportunity that he waits for. And he continues to wait. She's kind of resituating herself a little bit, but after a few moments, she does kind of sit back a little bit, and she kind of leans her head on her hand against part of the bus stop, leaving the other side of her neck, the left side of her neck, kind of more exposed. With that, he very carefully leans in, very careful not to touch her before it's time. And without even that's a complete success, actually. That's 3 successes. Without even another, without even hesitating or missing a beat, he goes in. His fangs extend slowly as he goes in toward her neck. And just at the moment that she sighs, in exasperation, a little bit of frustration that the bus isn't already here. Maybe frustration that she is sitting here too early, out here in the cold. Maybe the frustration of the slightly damp, bust up seat. The smell, the feeling of moisture in her nostrils. Maybe a slight burning sensation. Or maybe it's the people in her life other than those at work, trying to make her life more difficult, whether they want to or not, whether they care or not. Probably don't. Stefan gets very, very close, and at the moment that she sighs, his fangs, before his lips touch her skin, the skin of her neck, sink in. And at the moment that that happens, he leeches on, catching her, pulling her into the emotional torrent, the euphoria of the kiss, as he begins to drink and suck at her neck, tasting the sweet VTMYTE within her, feeling the sadness, feeling the frustration, feeling the confusion. At this moment, he knows that he's not the only one. The emotions, they take over him, though, just like any drug, any alcohol would. And perhaps that is alcohol in there. Perhaps she had been drinking a little bit. I'm sure he starts to get a little lost in the raw emotion, in the taste, that familiar taste of schnapps on her, or in her blood. That taste that he hasn't brought to his lips, that he hasn't felt in his gut, that warming sensation, that sweet, that sour, that heat behind it. I'm going to make a self-control roll. But despite the torrent of emotions, the possibility that she actually had been drinking tonight, he holds back, and perfectly times what he did without even spilling a drop as usual. He prides himself on eating clean. And just before he pulled, or as he pulls his fangs from the woman's neck, as he is about ready to pull his head back, he gently kisses at the wounds in her neck, dabbing his tongue over both to seal the wound. giving her a gentle kiss, and whispering, "You'll be, you will be okay, darling. You will be okay." As the woman, now in a little bit of a daze after taking the two precious points of blood, Stephanie gets back up and heads toward a nearby alleyway in Little Italy. Caught up in the warrant and the whir of the alcohol, the emotions, of the feelings that he literally could feel racing through his mind, the things that he could see racing in her mind, the possibilities of what her day-to-day life is based on what he knows, based on what he's seen in his life. It's like a moving picture to him tonight. And he heads towards shadows, trying to slow his steps a little bit, but unsure if he's going to be able to do it. Or not unsure, just kind of caught up. He starts to walk smoothly, trying to just have a very loose, very soft, very delicate step about him. First few steps are a little rough, and then he finds that light-footed gate as he moves into the shadow, slipping into it. He realizes where he is and where he's walking, how he's walking. And he just imagines himself as a passing shadow, like a car passing by with their lights on, casting that light into a little bit of that light into a dark alley. The little bits of shadow that it casts, just kind of imagine himself like that moving through. And heading back towards downtown area, thinking to himself, maybe, just maybe, Lacey won't always distrust me. Or distrust him. Thinking maybe it was momentary that Sophia's odd feelings, like she didn't trust him. Maybe it was just momentary. From now on, he thinks to himself, he won't leave anything to chance. He's not going to meet people under circumstances like that. He wants people to trust him. He is trustworthy. Nobody should think anything other of him or anything else of him. Oh well. His walk continues, drawing closer and closer to the downtown area, back to his apartment, just kind of enjoying the night off. Usually he does have Sundays off, and tonight is no exception. He was going to try to work on that project for Sophia, but tonight he's just going to find something to read, something pleasing to read. The soft sound, or with the soft melody of music in the background. She relaxes in the comfort of his apartment tonight. After his satisfying and saving meal, letting the emotions, letting the thoughts, letting the passion in that woman just kind of flow through him as the VTMYTE is now starting to course slower and slower through his veins, becoming one with him.